Being great at sales is essential to your business and your career, but you and I both know that the stress of selling and dealing with constant rejection can be an emotional drain. My entire brand, No BS Selling, is based on the belief that professional sales is a skill and not a personality, and that to be better at sales takes constant refinement and a dedication to your craft. This show is for salespeople and entrepreneurs who are committed to improving their sales skills and getting better results, and are sick and tired of the BS game that often happens between buyers and sellers. Welcome to the No BS Sales Podcast, and I'm your host, Walker McKay. I'll help you and your sales team make selling easier, feel less cheesy, and be more lucrative. It's time to change the rules and level the playing field between you and the people you sell to. You're already good, let's be better. Welcome to the No BS Sales Podcast. I'm your host, Walker McKay. We're rolling into about week 12 of people making the excuse, well, nobody's buying anything because of COVID and because I can't get in front of them. You know, if I can't get in front of them, I can't close them because my clients are whatever, blah, blah, blah. Get over yourself. There's plenty of business to be had out there. I'm closing a bunch of stuff right now. You know why? It's because I'm freaking working. And if you're not out making phone calls, working to drive business in, you're creating your own recession. Don't get caught in that trap. You'll say to yourself, oh gosh, it's COVID or it's freaking riots or it's whatever. And so nobody's buying during this time. And so then you tell yourself that. And so you say, why should I call? Because nobody wants to take my call right now. It might offend them if I call them. Nobody wants to talk to their ex right now, right? They're whatever, their accountant or their lawyer or their freaking roofer. So I don't want to call them because that would be rude. Well, guess what? You're going to be out of flipping business here really soon. Get your ass back on the telephone, set up meetings, do them over Zoom, do them over whatever your platform of choice is. Come with the real world. People are buying. They're fixing problems. They're doing stuff they need to do. Life is going on differently than before, so we need to adapt and adjust. The reason I want you to listen to this podcast today is to learn why you need a sales system. Why you need a process. And I'll tell you in a little while, you probably have one, you just don't know it. Why you need a better system is what I'm going to tell you about. I wrote down a couple different kinds of ways that people sell, right? Or they believe that they sell. One is my favorite is the people say, oh, I've just got the personality for sales, or so-and-so just has the personality for sales. Y'all all know, you've heard me say this, that's just code for somebody that goes out. They got no flipping skills, no freaking skills. They go out and make friends, they talk too much, and they put pressure on people, right? They're often seen as a gadfly or, quite frankly, a moron. Right? They just go out there and talk to people and make friends and see what happens. Ridiculous, it's lazy. I mean, the personality thing. Would you go to somebody who had the personality of an accountant but didn't know shit about accounting? Hell no, you wouldn't, right? That they couldn't do their trade? I laugh too. What if somebody had you may have the personality of a dentist. And maybe you've pulled your own tooth before and it was bloody and it was messy, but that doesn't make you a damn dentist, right? A lot of people go into sales and say, well, I can sell anything. Bullshit. Maybe you can sell some things, but you are not doing yourself any good. You're not doing the profession any good. Go find something else. There are jobs at the post office. If you're not smart, if you are not ambitious enough to learn how to do it the right way. Then there are those of you that have gotten a little bit of skills, right? Maybe you took a Dale Carnegie course sometime. Maybe you've read a couple of books, listened to a podcast or two. You got a little bit of training, but you see selling as trickery and deception. Right? You want to trick people and you put pressure on people. One of these things, like if I showed you a way, would you buy today? It's stuff that a lot of freaking car salesmen do, right? Pressure on people, trick people, get them in, get them out. Another kind of person is going to say, oh, I don't sell. I just tell people the truth, right? But that usually means another sign, you're talking too damn much, right? If you're just telling people the truth, you're telling people your truth. It means that's all about you. You're not selling at all. Maybe you're educating people. You're probably pissing a lot of people off, and when somebody buys from you, you don't understand why. You're just reinforcing your idea in your head, I just tell people the truth. Well, you're probably either not making the money you should be making, or you're not talking to the people you should be talking to. And probably a lot of people are walking away, whether you know it or not. There's another category of people that say, well, I don't have to sell, I just get referrals. Honestly, I do know some people, some professionals who been in business for a long time, and they're in a place where they're doing very, very well, and most of their business does come from referrals, and that is awesome. Good for you. A lot of people, though, use that as an excuse. It's because they're afraid to prospect or don't know how to prospect. And what it means is that they're getting the low-hanging fruit. They're getting the stuff that's coming to them anyway, which is often not ideal business if they really thought about it. It's probably smaller business. It's probably squirrel business, we call it, right? The tiny ones. We want to look for the deer, the ones that are right in your sweet spot. If you had somewhere between, I don't know, 25 and 100 deer, you'd have a hell of a nice business, right? Ongoing, repeatable business. Let's talk about business for a second. We've got systems for damn near everything that we do in our business. Can you imagine trying to run a manufacturing facility and just say, oh, I've got the personality for manufacturing, so therefore these things will turn out right? Or we say, I've just got the personality for the courtroom, but you don't know shit about law. You're dead. You're not helping people. Most of you follow a system when you do sell. Most of you do. And I'm going to describe it for you. Tell me if this is even close. All right. So your system, if I were to give you a name and a phone number, this person is an ideal prospect for you. They're a deer. You should call them. Here's the process. Tell me if this sounds familiar at all to you. First step, some of you would take was you do a little bit of research. You Google them, spend some time on LinkedIn, maybe call a friend or two of yours, see if they knew them. If you couldn't talk yourself out of calling them, then you might pick up the phone and call. And your goal of the call would be to set an appointment. So you'd have a quick phone call, set an appointment. And then the next step of your system, right, is you go to the appointment. And when you're at the appointment, you're probably going to look for things that are in common. I'm going to go and, get a little bonding with this guy. He went to Clemson, I went to Clemson, whatever. And then we're going to start educating our clients in what we do because they need to be educated. We give them our brochures. We tell them why we're different, why we're better. We got better people, better quality, better service, whatever. Then we're going to do a quick needs analysis. What are some needs they have? At that point, we might do a little trial close, maybe, maybe not. But we're going to decide if we're going to go do a proposal, and everybody gets a proposal. Most people do. So we go and create a proposal. Sometimes some of us, it takes a couple of minutes to do a proposal. Some other people, it could take, I worked with an engineering firm one time, and they're a big civil engineering firm. And when I first met them, they were doing proposals. They'd respond to an RFP. Big companies would send them an RFP, and it could take them 4 or 5 engineers full-time, 5 or 6 weeks to put together a proposal to respond to an RFP. Can you imagine? Can you imagine how many hours that is? And they got picked 1 out of 10 times. 1 out of flipping 10 times. And they're like, well, we can't afford training. Well, guess what? If you could put your people to work on profitable stuff, you could certainly afford training. We ended up firing one of their estimators, more than paid for me. Anyway, sorry. Create a proposal. And then next step, and again, 15 minutes to 800 hours, right? And then we come back, we set another meeting, and perhaps we present the proposal, right? Go over all the stuff that we're going to do for them. And, we kind of maybe do a trial close, work to overcome objections. If they don't buy often your buyer will say things like, let me think it over. I'm checking around with some other people. Your price seems kind of high. Let me think about this. I need to talk to my partner. My partner's traveling in Europe. So clearly there are no phones in Europe. We'll get back to you. And so a lot of salespeople say, okay, sounds good to me. I think he likes me.
And then they jump into chase mode. All right, I'll just follow up. I'll just follow up with them because they tell me to follow up. I'm going to follow up. Well, good for you. It's funny. I met a guy several months ago, and I said, "Why are you in sales?" He said, "I love the chase. I just love the chase." Immediately could tell he was starving to death. Right? Don't love the fucking chase. Love getting paid. Love finding the right people to work with. Finding people that have a reason to do business with you, and that you're the right fit, and that they're the right fit for you. So there's that system that I just described where you call and you set an appointment and you go to the appointment, educate your prospect, find out a needs analysis, do a proposal, show the proposal, overcome objections, try to overcome objections. If you don't get a yes there, you're getting, pushed off. Let me think it over, call me back, blah, blah, blah. And then you follow up, which often leads to nothingness. A lot of you will say, yeah, that's what sales is. And it's interesting, I do surveys sometimes and I find out, well, how many of you have had sales training before? And probably half the room will raise their hand. Back when we used to have rooms, Zoom room, I guess. Raise their hands, half of them will. The other half will say, no, they haven't. Yet they both use the same sales process. How in the world do people who have never been trained know the same sales process as the people that have been trained? Well, they go, well, because I just watch other people. It's just what sales is, right? It's been passed on. This system, meet them, greet them, propose them, close them, was created by Dale Carnegie back in the 1950s. And it was a neat system. There's nothing wrong with it, except for everybody knows it. Everybody sees it coming. You look and sound and act and taste and feel like a salesperson because they can see this thing. And you wouldn't believe this, but human beings are very adaptable creatures. And here's a little secret. Nobody likes to be sold. Nobody likes to be sold. They like to buy, they don't like to be sold. And so in order to keep control, they've created their own system that gives them all the power. Let me explain to you what this looks like. This system looks like when you're calling in, the first thing that they want to learn is, what's your price? What's your price? What does it cost? That's the first thing they want to know. Not going to share a lot of details. They're not going to offer those things. And a lot of salespeople just jump in and say, okay, here's my price, because they asked for it. If you make it through the price thing, right, and you get invited in for a meeting, right, we're so excited. Oh, I got a meeting. The second step in your prospect system is they get free consulting. You call it educating. They think of it as, yeah, tell me, how are you going to fix this? What would you do? What would that look like? How would that work? And we're so excited as salespeople when we hear this stuff. It was like, oh, I got one. He likes me. This is great. We're going to be friends. I can finally vomit all the information I learned from marketing that I'm so excited to tell somebody this person's asking me. So you show them how you can or they can fix their problems. And they're giving you all these buying signals. By the way, the only freaking real buying signals when somebody writes a check or signs a PO or a credit card. There are no damn buying signals other than that. The third step in the process is where your prospect says nice things and gets rid of you. Right? So the first thing is they ask about price. If you make it through that, then they get free consulting. The third step is they say nice things and get rid of you. Sounds like, hey, this looks great. Let me think it over. Why don't you call me in a week? My business partner is traveling in Europe, but I know he'll like this. Why don't you call him back? I'll talk to him when he gets back. Call me back in a couple of weeks. And so most salespeople, oh, that's a buying signal. So let it go. And they come back and tell their boss, hey, I think I got one. Then your buyer takes your information. You think they know somebody else who does what you do? You think they're working with somebody else? They could find somebody else? Not every time, but sometimes. They may take your proposal and send it over to Jimmy, who they've been working with. Let me back up for a second. Sometimes they'll say, shit, that's too expensive, and won't do anything, or they'll try and do it themselves. Thank you for your help. Or they may take that stuff and send it over to Jimmy, the guy they've been working with, and say, hey, Jimmy, just had a meeting with this smart salesperson from your competitor. And he says he can do X, Y, and Z, same as you, and he's charging me less. Can you help me? You know, times are tight, COVID, riots. And Jimmy says, well, you don't want to lose the customer. You don't want to lose the quote relationship. So he cuts his price. And then all of a sudden, his customers after a long time realizes, boy, Jimmy's been screwing me, charging me too much. Now I can't trust him anymore. I'm going to beat him up more often. But Jimmy keeps the business, doesn't offer you what it was, doesn't give what it is that you said you were going to give. And all of a sudden you're following up because that's what you promised you'd do. And you got to be persistent, right? You got to call them back, got to be persistent. So you're following up. You call, you're in chase mode, right? And you look down and you say, oh, it's Friday. I got to call because I told them I'd call them back on Friday, or that's the day I call people back. So you call back on Friday and Jimmy realizes he's either not going to do anything, or he's going to do it himself, or he's hired somebody else. And so he sees you calling, sees your name on the phone. Everybody's got your name in their phone. And they go, oh shit, that guy was nice. That lady was nice. But I'm not going to do business with her. I don't want to talk to her because that would be rude. So you go to voicemail. And you leave a message, hey, this is Johnny. Just called to see if you had any questions about that proposal I sent you. Want to see if everything's okay, if you had any questions for me. Voicemail, click. Your heart dies a little bit. A couple of days go by, you decide to call him back. Monday, Tuesday the following week, and you call back and say, hey, this is Johnny. Just called to see if you had any questions, see if you want to move forward. Nice voicemail message. Your heart dies a little bit more. And then you start getting pissed. A couple more days go by and you follow it and say, hey, just called to see what happened. Call to see if we got some here. We may be having a sale here. Maybe it'll help you out. How about call me back? Desperate salesperson. Pissed at themselves. Pissed at the prospect. Pissed at the wrong person. Pissed at the prospect. I want you to be persistent in finding new opportunities. Now put yourself in the prospect's shoes for a minute. All of a sudden now you've gotten voicemail a couple of times. You've left voicemail a couple of times. Now put yourself in the prospect's shoes. You've gotten 3 voicemails from a salesperson you're not going to do business with. What are you starting to think? This guy won't leave me alone. Why didn't he get a clue? What the hell's wrong with him? And you create an uncomfortable situation for everybody. Have you ever done this to somebody else who's trying to sell to you? I have. My mother has. All of us have. Why do we know to do this? Because we know what salespeople do. See, in order to compete in today's environment, you got to do better than that. If you're doing what every other salesperson does, which is some version of that, you're going to get crushed. You're going to get the shitty business. You're going to get the low margin business. You're not going to have any legs to negotiate from. I created a system, a sales system, no BS sales system, that puts you on even footing with your buyer, with your prospect. You're on even ground. You got the same amount of leverage that they do, which is a whole new experience for most salespeople. Most salespeople are thinking, oh my goodness gracious, I've got to do whatever they say. The golden rule, he with the gold rules. Oh, get some damn gold. Get some gold. Build a strong pipeline. Have plenty of options. And then recognize not everybody's the right fit for you. You are not the right fit for everybody else. You don't want everybody as clients. Not every proposal's worth chasing. Not every opportunity's worth doing. Know deep in your soul you're not the right fit for everybody. Also, I want you to understand you're supposed to ask questions and not tell. Your job is to go not just learn the data from your prospects, go learn their opinions about stuff, what they like, what they don't. I want you to be a guide and not the hero. I want you to understand that you're supposed to guide people to the right decision. And if they don't want to buy, that's the right decision. I want you to give up on this idea that somebody telling me no is a failure. Bullshit, that is a win, especially if you can learn it in the first meeting as opposed to the 17th meeting after doing a proposal. No's are good. No's are not failures. No is my second favorite word. I hear it all the time. I have a process that I teach people. Begins with a pre-call plan where you spend 5 minutes before your meeting thinking about what you need to go through. What are we meeting about? What does the prospect think we're meeting about? What's an ideal outcome? What are some questions I need to be thinking about? What are some things I need to learn from this person? What are some things that other people in their industry are struggling with that I need to be asking him about if he's struggling with that? What's an ideal outcome? What's a good outcome? Then we might move on and we would, once we got in the meeting or before the meeting, we'd begin to manage expectations. What are we expecting? What do we hope will happen? What will be the outcome? And we have this conversation, a dialogue with our prospects and say, let's set up the rules of engagement for how we're going to meet, what we're going to talk about, and what we're going to decide. Yes or no? See, full transparency is the best way. People need to know what the next step is. As a professional, you need to know what the next step is, and you also need to know what your prospect thinks the next step is and come to some agreement. So after you have this thing where you've established the rules of the game, how you're going to play, then you want to find out what's really going on with them. What's their situation? What do they like? What's going on well? What's a problem? What would they expect if they were to spend money? If they were to make a change, what would they hope would be better or different? Why would they spend $1 more than they're currently spending? We're looking for what's a place that maybe there is a problem for them that they want to fix, or some place that they want to be that they're not right now. What's the gap? From there, we're going to move into a process called Discover, Disqualify, which is where we're going to discover, are those problems that they shared, is there an emotional, compelling reason why they should change? There's a process we follow for this, right? To find out. And then we find out, is there a budget they could spend based upon the problem? We've helped them discover how deeply the problem matters to them. If it does, if it doesn't, get in the call. What's their budget? What's their decision-making process? Not who's the decision maker, what's their decision-making process? Completely different questions. If we get that information and it still works for us, it still suits, right? And we think they're a good fit, then we move on. In my world, we move to close. Or once again, we get an agreement to figure out, all right, if I show you what it is I would do to fix this, would you be willing to tell me yes or no? We're asking for a decision, no pressure here, right? We move towards a close, and then from there, we would present. So in my system, we present before, we close before we present. Sounds crazy, but we close before we present. Because if somebody's not gonna buy or they're shopping around, I wanna know that way before I give my proposal. I wanna know that I at least have a shot at this, that they can tell me yes, and that yes looks like this. If they want to tell me no, that's completely okay too. I'll agree with them. No fight for me. Then I'll present my information, show them how I'd solve their problems, find out from them how important that is, answer all their questions, and they can tell me yes or no. Either way is fine. Assuming that they buy, at that point, I'm going to make sure I don't lose the sale, right? After I've gotten a check, after I've gotten a PO, after the contract's signed, I'm going to show them, I'm going to let them know a couple of things that are going to happen. One, the guy that they just fired to hire me is probably going to call them. And what are they going to do about that? How are they going to handle it? Number two, I'm going to help them deal with buyer's remorse. If they go back to their company and say, hey, we've done this, and the people that it's going to affect the most say, oh my God, you can't do that. How are they going to handle it? Prepare them for that. That's our job as professionals, to prepare them for what happens next. And then also, I don't know about you, but a lot of us, when you move somebody into a process, when you have a new client, they've got to go through an onboarding program, or they've got to learn something new. And often that doesn't go perfectly well. I want to let them know it's not going to go perfectly well. There are going to be problems here. There's going to be stuff that pops up that may even make you mad. It's okay. And I'm going to walk them through what that looks like and what they need to do, because I don't want to lose a sale after I've made it. Has that ever happened to anybody before? It's happened to me. Part of why I created this. If you want to know more about this system, it's kind of been a project of mine for 18 months. I've created a course, No BS Sales System course. It goes for sale on Joby. Not it's for sale now, but you can download it. It begins. It's available as of July the 1st. If you want more information on this course, it's $497. 6 hours or so of video of me going through my system with you in detail, how it works. There's a workbook, 40 plus pages, so you can work and customize the system just for you. It also comes with a package of 90 days of group coaching, once a week group coaching, where we can work this stuff out for you. It's a hell of a value here. A lot of people pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for this kind of information. But I want to share it with you guys. I spent 18 months creating this thing, and I think it's important. My goal, as some of you have heard, is by the time I retire, by the time I'm done, I want there to be 50% fewer shitty salespeople in the world that sell on personality or sell on trickery and pressure. I want to teach you how to be transparent, how to not bullshit people, how to figure out who's the right fit and who's not, how to learn what your prospect's really looking for so you don't waste their time. If you want more information about the course, email me, walker@walkermckay.com. I'll send you a link. You can pre-buy it. I think we've got some kind of a deal. If you buy it before July the 1st, there's some kind of a discount. That's a pretty good discount. I think it's like $150 discount. Anyway, if you can buy it before July the 1st, there's a discount. After that, it's cool. You can pay full price. That would suit me fine, in case you feel bad about ripping me off from buying it at a deal. Lots of ways out there that you can be better. Your competition's sleeping right now. They're making excuses for they're not doing stuff. You're already good. Let me help you get better. Send me an email, walker@walkermckay.com. Ask me to put in the subject line course. I'll send you the link. You can sign up, prepay, get a discount. No BS Sales Team, love you guys. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you very, very much. I've gotten a lot of feedback, gotten a lot of emails from y'all hitting my website. Thank you so much. I look forward to meeting each of you in person. Let me know what issues you're dealing with, the kinds of things that you're running into that are causing problems. Maybe I can create a podcast around solving it. Have a great week. Go get them.